welcome to this week's edition of the WCS Sports Connection Game Day Show. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with me, as always, my co-host, Tate Mathews. As we continue our AD series here, we have our special guest today, Wade Privett, Athletic Director at Centennial High School. Wade, happy to have you here today.
Yep, appreciate you having me on. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about Centennial Athletics. We'll start in the fall. We had a great football run, but before we get to football, let's talk about the other sports. Volleyball, you have a new coach hired. What do we expect from the new volleyball coach?
We're expecting big things with Coach RODEO. We went to St. Louis to find her. Took a little longer on the hiring process than maybe some of the parents would have liked, but we knew we really had to take our time and get a good one. So after a long search, we felt like she was the person that was going to be able to take us to the next level. Right now, she's won the 4 past district championships in her district in St. Louis. She's the 4-time Coach of the Year in that district. And has gone to the past 3 Elite Eights in the state of Missouri for volleyball. And so we're really expecting her to pick up right where our old coach left off and take us to the next level, which is the ultimate goal of the state championship in volleyball.
Absolutely, and that's interesting to note that you had to go all the way to St. Louis. Did you take that trip yourself? Was that a fun trip to go do some recruiting off for a coach?
Well, she came to us, but it was good to have interest, from that far off. So it just kind of, speaks to the level of volleyball we're playing. People know about us down here in Williamson County, and that just speaks volumes for the volleyball for the whole county.
And that was going to be my next point of emphasis, is that it shouldn't be too hard to recruit for volleyball coaches in this area, given the history, given the atmosphere that we have here with club volleyball being on such a high level, with our volleyball program here at the WCS Sports Conference being top-notch, Brentwood there being nationally ranked there in 4th, and we have all these other teams that are vying for spots in the state tournament. So, that should be an easy spot to fill.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we had multiple candidates, again, from all over the country, really, but at the end of the day, we just felt like Coach O'Day was going to be the one for us, and so we're really excited to have her and for her to want to come be with us. So we're looking forward to her getting started.
You mentioned the next level, and people might not know, you've had some really, really good volleyball teams over there. You just happen to be in there, like Coach Qualls mentioned, with Ravenwood and Brentwood. And if both of them aren't here, there's a state tournament or 2 appearance for Centennial in the past 5-6 years. So,
absolutely.
Some very good teams. You're so close. You're just in there with 2 of the best in the country, not only the state. So I guess going into that game, going into this new job, your new coach knows that. What's kind of the approach going to be on that?
For her, that's her approach right now. It's just she knows where we are. Basically, she's just going to try to continue on where we left off, really mold these girls together. And we got a new coach over at Ravenwood this year. Of course, Coach Campbell at Brentwood is going to still be there. But really, it seems like it's kind of a time to attack, and that's what we felt like going into the interview process, is if there's a chance, now's the time for it to happen. And so that's the approach we're really taking, and Coach O'Day is going to be taking when she gets started.
Well, congratulations, landing her. I know that you're excited to have a top-notch coach there in the volleyball program to continue that program to try to strive for that state championship bid. Moving on, cross country, have some athletes there that are setting records right now. Jonathan Helton, breaking his own PRs probably week to week. Right now has a sub 2-minute 800 in track right now. That's a sub 4 minute if you could hold on to it in the mile. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, this Jonathan Helton, first of all, you just can't say enough about him as a kid himself. He's out there. He's the one that you see coming into school at 7:30 in the morning, and it's liable to be raining. He's out there running. He's been running and working out at Centennial since he was in 8th grade. Just coming over and working out, and he's really dedicated himself to what he's doing, and now we're really starting to see some of the rewards come from his preparation. He does a great job and really pushes himself hard.
Yeah, that's a sport. It's like wrestling. It's an individual sport. You can't hide. I mean, it's you, and so if you put the work in or not. And it's no coincidence that the kids that are excelling in it are the ones that have the great work ethic too. And some people might not know it, but in cross country numbers, it helps to have a lot of numbers. You all have gotten to where both your cross country and your track programs, your numbers have exploded, and all that does is build depth as well. Absolutely.
We're right now, our numbers in track, we're over 100 for the team. I want to say we're right around 40 for cross country when you get to boys and girls. And kind of going back to Jonathan Helton and talking about the sport, the individuality of it. You hear about discipline in all these other sports and this and that, and you have coaches on you to make sure you're staying in line. But like you said, just to reemphasize your point, when you're talking about discipline, it's all self-discipline when it comes to a sport like that. And so for him to be able to get where he's gotten, That's just a tremendous, tremendous accomplishment.
Well, just think about that. I mean, you go in and you're talking about the self-discipline that has to go into a running event now. You have to go and train, so you actually have to do the running. There's no shooting, there's no throwing.
Yep.
And then once you get yourself to that shape, you have to push yourself mentally once you get into an event. But the thing is, you're not throwing 7 touchdowns a game in front of thousands of people on Friday night in basketball. You're in front of about 10 people at the finish line.
Yep.
So that has to be, that self-discipline and motivation has to be something, you have to be something special there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Moving on, let's talk about football, man. That's the front porch of our school. We go into Centennial. You're on the coaching staff. Let's talk about what a great year we had. Finished the year 10-3, quarterfinals in state playoffs. End up losing to Ravenwood in a great game, 17-10 there, for those guys to move on into the semifinals. Let's talk about your team.
Okay. Again, this, like you said, we finished up 10-3. 2 of those losses were to Ravenwood. The other one was to Franklin. So again, just reemphasizing the strength of the football programs in our county. The record speaks for it there. 10-3. That's the first time Centennial's ever won 10 games. So we're happy to have that accomplishment behind us. Every year we're kind of looking for something that's never been done at Centennial, and that just happened to be it. So we're glad to be able to meet that goal. The next goal, obviously, is we're wanting to win the district. That's never been done at Centennial. Again, now with the redistrict changes that have gone on this year, once again, we feel like this is the time. If it's going to happen, now's the time to do it. And so that's kind of our mentality going into this next year is, we really want to attack and win this district with it up in the air, kind of like it is.
Going into the year, you didn't really know what your identity was on offense, and got banged up in preseason. So going into those first few games, people might not know it. I mean, y'all were really, it was a duct taped together, a lot of Band-Aids on there. Won a lot of close games, and then the game I always go back to, that Independence game.
Yep.
That was one where you could have folded your tent.
Yep.
The performance Deion Sanders had with the flu, Terrell Dotson that game, and the whole team too. I thought that was kind of your defining moment. You all came back, won that thing. That was a big win. It seemed like you all really just kind of took off after that.
Yeah, that was kind of at a point where, we were still trying to kind of shape our identity, like you said. It ended up turning into a shootout. It was a Thursday night game. Independence played really well. That Andrew Bunch playing quarterback is just so hard. He really stresses the defense. And, we just kept throwing punches back and forth, and every once in a while that's good for a team to get into a back and forth match to really kind of define who you are and see what kind of mentality you have. So, again, like you mentioned, we had kids playing with the flu. We had kids beat up. It was a Thursday before fall break, so you never know what the kids' mentality is going to be going into an off week like that. And so for them to come out and respond at that point in time, we knew we had something special, and we're glad to be able to run with it as far as we did.
Then you go into that quarterfinal game against Ravenwood. How fun it was from our seat. I don't know about from the sidelines, coaching-wise. I know that's always a stressor, but you're sitting out there and you're watching who's on both sides of the ball. You've got Emmanuel Hall right there on the receiving side, opposite of Van Jefferson. You've got Tyrell Dotson. You've got Cole Brown from Ravenwood. You've got Deion Sanders. You've got all those guys back and forth. I mean, such a fun atmosphere, large crowd, 17-10. It goes down literally to the last play.
Yeah, anytime you get beat by a team and you get a second chance, a lot of times you don't get second chances when it comes to a situation like that. So we were really excited, to get the next chance. It didn't feel like we played well in the first game, and so anytime you got that, it's just lucky as a coach to be able to get that second chance. Like you said, as far as the athletes on the field, it's pretty special, just to be able to be coaching for or with and against, athletes like that. A lot of coaches coach their whole careers. They never even see guys like that. And to have 2 out there on the same field for the second time in the season, that's just really special for coaches and the fans around here to be a part of.
And not to be presumptuous, probably a third out there, which we're going to talk about right now. We've got, you had 13 signees in the fall. Over $2 million of athletic scholarships went out at one time, and we're still not finished.
Right.
And during that, on the football field, we talked about Emmanuel Hall. Gets an offer from Missouri, takes it, goes, and what do we know about the future holds for him at Missouri?
Right. He's like you said, he had several SEC offers and some from around the country. Ultimately, he felt like Missouri was the place for him, where he felt the most comfortable, and so we look for big things with him. As we look at him, he's probably just the best athlete I've ever seen. just as far as what he can do athletically. It's just, it's amazing. Like I said earlier, a lot of guys never will get to coach a guy like that. So it's real special to be able to. So looking for big things for him from Missouri.
And the great thing is when you have a kid like him, you've got college coaches coming in every single day. And while they're there, they always ask, anybody else we need to be looking at?
Right.
And that gives the other kids an opportunity. The same thing happened at Ravenwood with Van Jefferson. So it gives exposure to your school, to your program, and it really does trickle down. And there's some guys that got some attention that maybe wouldn't have had it not been for them coming in to see Emmanuel.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for him to be able to just kind of open the door to Centennial, to some of these other athletes that we're going to have coming through that have a chance to play on that level, that's just a great contribution from him, whether he knew he was contributing or not. That's a great contribution to him, for our school that we'll have going forward.
And come off the season that he had. I mean, he's 6'2", 6'3",
Yep.
about what, 200, 185
right around,
to 200.
Yeah, right around 200.
Unbelievable athlete. I sure would have. Of course, I'm biased towards basketball. To see him play basketball, I understand he was a pretty good basketball player. I understand after signing with Missouri, the decision not to. But then you go to Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders is a great all-around kid, great athlete. Goes to Furman, signs with Furman, and I expect him to have a good career at Furman.
Yeah. Again, Deion's just another one of those kids that he's worked and he's put so much time and effort into being able to accomplish what he has. He's the guy that's out there on Sunday afternoon again by himself, doing what he needs to do to get his body right and his mind right to play for that week. And so for him to be able to, landed that scholarship to Furman, we're real excited and happy for Deion, moving forward and going there.
You talked about the second chances that you had. You got a second chance with Ravenwood. You got one the week or 2 weeks earlier, I guess, with Franklin. That had to be exciting, man. You go down the last game of the season, Franklin, Centennial, already a huge rivalry. You lose. You turn around, you get them the next round of the playoffs, come back and get another exciting. There were two just great games. That had to be, for a school that's kind of struggled with their identity football-wise, the best season you ever had. A couple years ago, you all beat Franklin for the first time in school history. So then you come back and win again in the first round of the playoffs. There was never a dull moment this year.
Yeah, that was a real special one, just to be able to, be able to again, like I said, lose 1 week, get a second chance, and we're able to do that and to get that win, in that environment. That's not just special for the kids and the players, but just for a community as a whole. That's great for Franklin, the city of Franklin, Williamson County.
Well, you spoke about opening the door for other athletes, so that brings us into the outlook for next year real quick before going to break. Tyrell Dodson started off with a few offers, MTSU, Arkansas State, and then all of a sudden, like dominoes, he's got up to 13 offers. His first SEC offer came across the table with Missouri, which probably could have parlayed off of the Emmanuel Hall situation. What do we see, real quick, what do we see the possibilities of him?
I really think with him it's going to open up real quick. One of the big things, Pat Washington, who's the receivers coach, was actually at the second Franklin game to see Emmanuel and the kicker that Franklin had, and so he actually got to see him play in person. And so to open the door with that one SEC offer, we feel like the door is really going to open up once the season starts, and we look for big things out of him as well.
Oh, excellent! I hope that happens. That means you have had an opportunity to coach back-to-back years with an SEC player on the field. You broke the school record for 10 wins. Could hold on 11 wins, maybe 12 wins, 13. Get in there and creep on up the ladder a little bit. And I guess 12 wins would get you where you needed to be this year if you'd have had it. But we'll see. When we come back, we're visiting right now with Athletic Director at Centennial High School, Wade Privett. We'll talk about spring sports and winter sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello folks, I'm Bill Fitzgerald with the Franklin Rodeo. The Franklin Noon Rotary Club this year is fighting domestic violence with our Man Up Crusade on May 15th. So wear your purple on Friday night and help us fight domestic violence and support Bridges of Williamson County. Get your tickets at franklinrodeo.com.
Hello and welcome back to WCS Sports Connection Game Day. I'm your co-host Jeremy Qualls, and with me as always is Tate Mathews. We're continuing our Athletic Director series with Centennial Athletic Director Wade Privett. Wade, let's move over into the winter sports. Let's talk about wrestling, bowling, and basketball. Wrestling had a successful year. He had 4 go into the state qualifying round there in the state championships and did well.
Right, we had a real good success considering we have a little bit lower numbers on our wrestling program. We only had about 25 kids on the team, so to be able to place 4 in there, we got to really congratulate Coach Pelkey on getting those kids ready and having the success that we did. So
let's talk a little bit about Coach Pelkey. What are some of the things he's doing? He's going to try to get those kids out and grow that program.
Well, he's doing a real good job in his off-season program right now. He's doing some things to kind of get an off-season camp going throughout the winter and the spring and summer, and so he's really working towards trying to generate that interest, working, contacting our feeder schools, and so he's out doing a lot right now, just trying to generate and drum up a lot of interest. So we expect him to be successful in that.
It's been fun to watch him along with Summit and Coach Miller. They're the 2 younger guys, and wrestling has changed in the past few years, and they're both younger guys who have come in. They've brought a lot of energy. I mean, they are wrestling guys, man.
Yeah.
And in the past, we've sometimes had coaches that were maybe assistants in other sports and took the wrestling program. Mm-hmm. These guys are wrestling guys.
Yep.
You were talking about the off season, the youth programs. It is such a big part of it now. If you don't have it, you're not going to be very successful. And both he and Coach Miller, I think, have done a great job energizing wrestling in the county.
Absolutely.
And I kind of see too this trend going, Tate, that with in the same vein as volleyball. We've got this area here in Middle Tennessee and Williamson County especially where volleyball and soccer right now are no-brainer. They're always going to be top. I feel like wrestling can be a part of that equation.
Well, and back in the early days, back when it was just Franklin and Brentwood, GP West, everybody knows that name, and then the Franklin teams had some state championship teams too. So it kind of dipped a little bit, but it just seems to be coming back. It's a sport that we're very good in, and Page has had the best past couple years they've had in wrestling. So it's a sport that I think is really a hotbed here, and we're getting better. And I don't think it's any coincidence. Coach Miller's from East Tennessee. I believe Pelkey's from East Tennessee too. That's where those guys over in the Bradley, Cleveland area are so good. They're kind of taking the blueprint, if you want, bringing it here, and I think we're on the uptick in wrestling without a doubt.
And just like any other sport, I think you have to grow your farm system. You have to go down. You have to recruit at the younger levels and the middle school levels, get them involved in some form or fashion. I think with Coach Pelkey doing a camp would be a good step in the right direction.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, and he's also in the middle school at Page, so that's a great thing too. He's building that program, and so they're already kind of like in football. They're already ready when they get to you. You don't have to start teaching all that new stuff now. You just build on it. I think it's great.
Well, let's talk about a sport that's kind of obscure, bowling. Not a lot of people, we bowl for recreation, but we don't realize that it's a TWSAA sanctioned event. But you did have somebody qualify for the state.
We did have, her name was Melissa Gunther, and she did a great job. We were really happy to have her qualify this year. Again, we got good numbers out. What I really like about bowling being a TWSAA sponsored deal is, it gives some of the kids that maybe aren't as athletic a chance to participate, a chance to compete, even if they've not been blessed with the specific skill set to do your more traditional sports. So.
Hey, I respect them. You talk about discipline. I know, and I know you're going to laugh, but when I'm bowling, and you get,
yeah, I'm going to laugh.
You get 2 strikes, and you're thinking, all right, man, I got a chance to get. Heck, it's hard. Pressure starts getting to you, kind of like swinging a golf club. And I mean, those kids, that's another one. You can't hide. It's just you. And they are disciplined. I love that sport.
Yep.
I think I'm with you. I'm glad it's a TWSAA sport now.
Well, the exception of the child at Brentwood, it's not exactly like you can go out in the backyard and do it either. I mean,
right.
So you have to go out to the facility and get into the groove, and it is an interesting sport, but to say the least. So that moves us to basketball. Let's talk about basketball. The basketball programs at Centennial High School. Thought that Coach Johnson did a fantastic job this year with his team at Centennial, being a first-year coach here in the sports conference. So let's talk a little bit about that. Yeah,
Coach Johnson, we couldn't be more happy with him and the direction we're going with him. Came in, it was his first year, had a lot of cutting the fat, so to speak, to do, to get the program going on the right track. And for us, to be able to take a lot of young kids like we did and really compete. We were in the game with Brentwood on the first game. We beat Ravenwood, we beat Independence, and to be, competing in some of those other games with the young kids, we're really excited in the direction he's going, and to have those kids coming back. It'll be fun to see what he's going to do next year.
I think you and Dr. Webb deserve some credit too. We all like some sort of comfort level when we're hiring somebody, and he's from the state of Washington, so of course I know you checked on him and vetted him and background. But still, I mean, that was a little bit of a chance bringing in a guy from that far out. And you're right. I think you all got the right guy. He did a great job.
Yep.
And so that's got to feel good knowing we took a chance on this guy from so far away. He's come in and he's automatically added to our school.
Absolutely. We're just, like I said, we're just beyond excited to see what he's going to be able to do, going forward.
And it's not easy. I mean, here comes a guy into a situation around kids that he's never seen before, not even from the state, don't even know understand the situation, and just from scratch saying this is the way it's going to be from day one. Now, there's two schools of thoughts. One, you have to a little bit be the player's coach, or you have to be the coach. And if you go the player's coach route, usually it ends in disaster at the high school level because you've allowed all the riffraff to come in. Like you said, you had to cut the fat. You have to take the kids that are dedicated to that sport during that time frame and buy into what the coaching philosophy is. And you may take your lumps early. You may take some losses there that maybe you had some wins if you had some other players. But I think what I saw him do this year, I think that Centennial's on the up and up. You got point guard K.J. LaSure coming back. What a fantastic dynamite player he is. And build around his work ethic, and if the kids will emulate what he does on the practice floor and with his work ethic, I think Centennial will be a tough team to beat.
Yep. We're really excited to have him coming back. He was a move-in actually this year, moved in from Indianapolis. And so, you get a lot of move-ins, and for one to be really good at basketball, you're not going to find any of us complaining. So
we used to have a saying, they never let the good ones leave. I mean, usually when they come in, you have somebody at the office say, hey, we got a basketball kid. I said, where is he? He's down the gym shooting. You go down there and he's breaking the backboard.
Yeah.
So, but moving on, Coach Hill, in the same vein, Coach Hill, what a great job he's done. With the team that he has, got Chantel Fly sitting there, one of the better, if not the best freshman, going to be competing with the freshman from Ravenwood for the top player with the next few years to come, as well as the Summit people. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but great job on the girls' side as well.
Yeah, he's got a real young team. Didn't have any seniors on the team this year. One started winning a few games late in the season. I think that's just a testament to what's going to be coming forward. Good things to come from him. He's taken a real commitment to the off-season program this year. He's actually got his basketball team lifting with the football team this year, the girls' basketball team. And so they're in there and they're getting after it, and there's some good things coming from that young group. So we're excited to see where we're going to go with that.
It sounds like a broken record, but I think he might have done the best job of anybody, boys and girls side, in basketball in the conference this year. I mean,
I don't disagree with you, because you got to think people are going to look at the records and say no way.
Right.
But if you watch all year long, getting beat 40, getting beat 30, getting beat 20, getting beat 10, double overtime, win a couple. I mean, that's a sign right there that the ship is corrected. Things are, and it's not easy. It's not overnight. Sometimes you don't have the best talent, but eventually, if they buy into what you're trying to do, good things happen.
Without a doubt. And we were at the Ravenwood game. They were up. Ravenwood was clearly the third best team in the district, and they had a chance to beat them.
Ended up getting beat 5 that night.
Right.
That was the night we had game day. The boys ended up winning that night.
That's right.
On a Tuesday night that easily could go out and lay an egg on Tuesday night and not play well and not be as motivated. But that night, both teams played well. The student body section was Americaned out that night. Red, white, and blue had their flags. Fun to watch. I know that atmosphere. I mean, if the student body understood how much the kids and the coaches play off that, what that means to your program.
Well, and the thing I loved, if you looked, the student body was over there Americaned out. It was a Tuesday night, and Dion was down there at the front leading the cheers. And so, you all are building some community over there, and that's something that maybe Centennial's lacked in a little bit. And it's great when the coaches and the students of the other sports are buying in. And that was a very good example of that.
Absolutely.
And you do have a state championship
We do.
as the year during this year. The cheerleading competitive squad went to the TWA state championships and won the state championship.
They did, and so we're proud to say they're the defending state champions in competition cheerleading. They were down in Orlando a couple months ago, and they had a good showing down there on the national level as well. And so again, they always do a great job. They have for a long time, and they're just fun to watch, and they do a great job of supporting other teams in the schools, on top of their own success.
Well, that wraps us up for the winter sports. Let's move over into the spring. Let's look at what a spring preview, what's going to happen, what's the possibilities, starting with track. We know we talked about Emmanuel Hall. He's a dual sport athlete. Not only does he play football, he runs, or rather jumps for the track team, high jump. 6'8", broke his own personal record, jumped 6'9" this year, with an opportunity to win another state championship.
Right, and yeah, we're excited right now. He's the #1 ranked high jumper in the state. Again, it'll just be coming down to as long as he does what he's capable of doing. You know, we hope to bring home another state championship with him in that individual competition there, the high jump. So we're real excited with him.
Yeah, and again, we mentioned the numbers that you have out. You have over 100 out now, and so we talked about volleyball, soccer, track. I mean, Brentwood High and Ravenwood have been so good in track. Coach Carter's done a great job bringing the program up, the track program. Got over 100 athletes out, and now in those meets, now Centennial's up there too. We've got a chance to win those meets on the Centennial side, both boys and girls. So very exciting on the track side.
Yeah, our girls actually won the Austin Peay tournament last weekend. Placed first and won that with some good teams out of Kentucky and Tennessee there. And our boys finished second, so they're, you know, like you said, they're competing and doing a great job.
And you got the #1 pole vaulter in the state, Jack Crowth.
We do.
Sitting right now. What's his?
We do. He jumped a 14.6 this season. So again, we're looking forward, hoping he's got a chance to compete come the state meet time.
Once again, that's another obscure part of track that is so difficult to even learn how to do. So congratulations, Jack. Hope he wins the state championship as well as Emmanuel. Get him another one there, 6'9". That's very impressive, and possibility of bringing several individual event state championships home.
Well, if you can win 2 of those. I mean, there's been times when a AAA track meet can win with 4 state championships. You win 2 state championships in the field events, you're going to place high come state track meet time.
Well, your baseball team, Coach Baughman, sitting right there at 17-4, 10-2 in the district. Fantastic. This has got an opportunity to come down almost like the Ravenwood scenario in football, come down between Ravenwood and Centennial in baseball. Let's talk real quick about that.
Yeah, Coach Baughman's doing a great job. He's got the team going. Again, those 2 district losses were both against Ravenwood. Very close games, kind of funny situations how they played out, but they're doing a great job. Let's see, Adam Mancor is one of our better pitchers. He's a dual sport guy. He's a bowler as well, and so he struck out 14 against Dixon County the other night.
Now think about that. We had underhand and overhand.
And so he can do it all. So he had 14 strikeouts the other night. Again, those guys are just doing a great job, and we're real excited to see how that's going to pan out for us this season.
Coach Baughman's got to be the elder statesman on the coaching staff at Centennial. He's been there forever. He does a great job. Back to that Ravenwood, not only were they close games, you had a chance to win both of them.
Absolutely.
Those 2 teams are very, very closely matched.
Well, we've got Bryce Ditton, the #1 All-American, preseason All-American right now. I mean, Ravenwood's loaded. We know that going in. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Director's Cup points for the spring sports are all on the table there, wide open for anyone. We've got the Wilcos coming up. I know there's some Centennial finalists in there. I can't exactly disclose who they are. I know who they are, but be interesting to get those invites out to those guys and have that representation on that award night for your top athletes of the WCS Sports Conference. Well, I've been Jeremy Qualls, and with me as always is Tate Mathews. It's been Wade Privett from Centennial High School. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Reading the Day by Sandy Coomer. Before the book is opened on the day, I gaze upon the cover's bright design and listen to what words the morn might say as introduction to this storyline. As chapter follows chapter, there is pause to rest my eyes before the rising plot can fix me in some independent clause or capture me within some deed or thought. Some characters, some themes I've known before, but every word's arranged as something new, some passion, some deep lesson in the lore of living set for me to find, pursue. What little time to read the day, to learn its heart before the final page is turned.